Lou Rockwell to break down the current globalist, socialist, collectivist operations will be joining us coming up in the second hour today to cover the waterfront. We were able to get on short notice the victim of Pennsylvania's checkpoints where they take DNA without warrants. This is being done under federal grants through intimidation and color of law, basically racketeering. It's happening all over the country, but they intimidate people into doing it by the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. And it's a whole other federal issue, not just a Fourth Amendment issue. It's just on every front. It's a 10th Amendment issue as well. The victim that spoke out against this is going to be coming on the broadcast. It's happening in all 50 states. And again, it is a part of the takeover of society. It's standardization, the militarization of police. That's federal. The training to take on the Tea Party. That's federal training. And it's just total tyranny. We have an occupied federal government, and this is just what they're doing. And we have to admit that's not rhetoric when I say the federal government's occupied by outside corporate interests who go into other third world countries on record and put in authoritarian regimes, buy off the different parliaments and congresses, and then convert the countries over to tyrannies. In many cases, abolishing the parliaments and congresses later because they don't have to buy off hundreds of people anymore. They can just buy off whoever the military junta is, whoever the military system and control is. So most societies go this direction. And we've just got to get the public to admit that, I don't know, 90% of the time historically you have a total tyranny. The other 10% roughly is just different forms of quasi-corruption. Maybe 1% of the time historically you have a free, open, vibrant country. The problem is that freedom, even any modicum of it, America's never been completely free, creates so much wealth and liberty that the children of the folks that promoted freedom and prosperity become decadent. It's a cycle. And then their children become corrupt and lazy, and then their children become demonic, child-sacrificing devil worshippers running around burning cities to the ground. That's just how it works. Again, Roman emperors marrying their horses, burning down cities for fun, Aztecs doing the same thing, Druids doing the same thing, ancient Chinese dynasty, some of them went crazy and did that. Not quite as often, though they did some barbarous stuff. Africa, same thing, 24/7. Same thing, 24/7 in different native tribes of the Americas. And if you didn't do that, a psycho tribe would show up and take you over. Take New Guinea. And the cannibalism and headhunting. I mean, it's just humans are humans. We may have different skin colors and stuff, you know, just like dogs might have. Someone may have white fur, and one might have brown fur, one might have black fur, one might have spots all over it. Man, it's the same brain in there kicking, folks. Same red blood in that dog. Dogs act the same. People, same deal, folks. And if good folks don't get together and come together against tyranny, we get enslaved, tortured, and killed by whatever group comes along to do that. And it's the same thing over and over again, and it's happening with a high-tech version now. We got big news coming up on this Wednesday Worldwide Edition.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
12 days or so left in 2013. We will plunge into 2014. That is such an incredibly important year where the globalists worldwide, not just here, are trying to cement a corporate, private, anti-free market, mafia, monopoly takeover. That's what we're in the midst of when the history books are written later. If we defeat this system or even partially hold it back, we'll look back on this as an incredible time. You know, Larry Klayman, the constitutional lawyer, is universally reviled and defiled and demonized by mainline Republicans and Democrats because he effectively damaged Bill Clinton. He effectively exposed tyranny with the Saudi Arabians in 9/11. He effectively sued the NSA and now has it going to court, and it looks like the judge will rule in that case that it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And so he went on CNN, and they played a demonization piece, basically saying he's a blowhard and an egomaniac and doesn't care about America. We have the piece. I'm going to play it later. And Klayman came on and said, I just want to point out that's propaganda to prejudice me to the audience, and this is a win for America. I've got his transcript here. I'm paraphrasing it. He said, this is a win for all Americans, and to restore our republic, we're in deep trouble. The police state isn't coming. It's here. He's normal. He sees it. Total above Stasi level spying, literally hundreds of times worse than what the East Germans did. Citizen spies, children spies, schools openly training, everything recorded, everything tracked, press persecuted with it, political minorities and majorities persecuted with it, massive felony actions going on billions of times a day, every time they grab a piece of data without a warrant. And they're publicly using it in federal and state courts, admitting everything's surveilled. The DEA is looking at everything. Totally illegally, and then even creating fake investigations so they can lie to the court and say they didn't get it with illegal wiretaps or illegal data mining. That was in the New York Times a month ago. I told you years ago that they lie in court with fake investigations, manufactured investigations for juries because they don't want to tell them they got the data illegally. That is organized fraud at an industrial scale, at a McDonald's level scale, at a Walmart level scale, that big. Federal courts are in every major city. And they're in federal and state courts by the millions of cases a year, and hundreds of thousands of those in total fraud. Reuters reported this as well. Going in with fake cases, perjuring themselves to the jury, and the judge knows, gee, you think we might be in a little bit of trouble? Because, folks, once they standardize fraud and openly put it into the court and codify it, you have a 100% evil government. Williamson County, north of Austin, their former prosecutor and judge is being indicted or been indicted, and others are in trouble. I've always told you it's the worst county in Texas and probably in the country statistically. If you're innocent, they want to put you in jail. If they have DNA and know who killed your wife, they will send you to jail and laugh at you when you're an innocent man with no criminal record, a successful businessman, and will laugh that you're innocent and let the serial killer go free. That's a famous Michael Mortensen case, or Michael Morton case. And again, I have lived here in Travis County with Mordor to the north of me, with all these naive retirees up there. Great people live in Williamson County. Good people. Horrible government. They're always catching Georgetown officials dealing drugs and their kids dealing drugs and the police stealing stuff. I mean, because you've got all these mainline conservatives who are living in la-la land and are in denial, just like you have Democrats living in la-la land. And Larry Klayman comes on and says, that piece demonized me and prejudiced me. This is a win for all of America, not about Larry Klayman. And the disgusting little pretty man, host sits there and makes fun of him and giggles and says, shut his mic off. Because they've got to demonize the hero. They've got to say the good guy's bad. They've got to say the guy being harassed and threatened. Oh, and they make jokes about that. You're paranoid with your tinfoil hat, they say. That's word for word. Claiming you've been intimidated by the government. Gee, he tried to expose Vince Foster murder. He tried to expose Clinton for all the lies. Gee, he almost brought down Bill Clinton. Do you really think he hadn't been harassed? I've gone and bullhorned a federal judge in the Waco civil trial, was threatened to shut up over the phone repeatedly, and when I didn't, they said, we'll be outside later. And I didn't believe it, and they beat the hell out of me outside saying, shut up, and don't go back to that trial again. I cannot, and of course, they got tore up bad as well, but I got beat up pretty bad, broke my nose, you name it. Of course, they kind of freaked out when they broke my nose, and I just went completely crazy and started slamming their heads into the concrete. But the point is that this is a real world, folks, and until you've dealt with the real world, you don't know how real it is. You don't know what we go through. Bongino, Obama's former head Secret Service agent on foreign operations, foreign trips, has had his house, business broken into, threats. They're trying to plant stuff on him. And he's not even giving any Obama secrets out. The point is, in a court of law, the trial's going forward with showing evidence of illegal NSA spying and harassment. Gee, it's admitted the NSA spied on hundreds of Associated Press reporters. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Of course they're spying on Larry Klayman. When our crew went up to cover the NSA in Utah, that night, I'm sitting there and I hear my phone typing, and it wasn't a stuck key on the iPhone. I went over and someone was sending emails to people. I don't even have an email account on there at that time. My phone was hijacked. I had to turn it off and then destroy it. That's the country that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going on record. You can pull up Reuters and the New York Times. That guys, type it in. DEA given NSA data. Another headline, DEA created fake investigations to cover NSA data. Reuters, AP, New York Times, you name it. Did not become a big story, though. Came out a few months ago and was never heard of again. There it is. The NSA is giving your phone records to the DEA, and the DEA is covering it up. Washington Post. But the big story is, hidden in the article, they admit they create fake investigations for the jury and the judge. Organized, total fraud and criminal activity in the fake drug war, where the majority of drugs are shipped in by big banks that own the aircraft. They ship the weapons in. That's come out in Bloomberg, AP, Reuters. $378 billion from 2007 to 2009. That's when that investigation came out. No one got in trouble. $378 billion in two banks alone, Wachovia and Wells Fargo. No one got in trouble. They paid a $111 million fine that, if you do the math, it'd be like if I robbed a bank and had $1 million in a van and I gave the cops $3,000. Here's your tip. Now I can go down the road. It's organized, open criminal activity. They said they weren't spying. They got caught lying. Now they say, trust us, it's for your own good. As mainstream news reported yesterday, Reuters, New York Times, again, you name it. Oh, the U.S. is making ties with radical Islam to bring down Assad because they know we've already exposed him. Now they're going to admit it, but spin it like it's okay and good. Our government is illegitimate and hijacked and run by criminal, predatory groups that see good men and women as their #1 enemy, because we can't be bought off. We can't be intimidated. They can't make us run. And they know they've committed all these crimes, and they hate us because they're the criminals. And they want to fully take over so they don't have to look over their shoulder. That's the thing about tyranny, folks. It grows out of criminals that get control of government, and it extincts everything good because it is threatened by the existence of justice. It is threatened by the existence of honor. It is threatened by the existence of good guys who they know will finally stand up against them and bring them down. So if you're a good person but a coward and have stood down because you're afraid of all this, you are going to be hunted down like a sheep by wolves because you've laid down. Obama came out today, I have the article, and said the Republicans are like the Jim Jones Guyana cult of Kool-Aid slurping cyanide victims. No, the entire political system in this country is a giant Jim Jones cult, and if you buy into it, you do it at the detriment of yourself and your family, because this tyranny is going to be the nastiest one the world's ever seen. And folks, if they don't get in trouble for all the crimes they've been caught committing, it sets the precedent, and the sky is the limit. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're dealing with here. They are the cult. They are the fraud. They are the lie. They are the ones endangering our future. And they're going to go for it all They're going for broke. They're double down, all in, folks. We got to be the same. The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support, 100% organic coffee, infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.